Today, as part of our Business Spotlight program, I'm with Richard McLoughlin. He's the managing director of Ox Synergy based in Sligo. So over to you, Richard. What is it you do and for how long have you been doing it?
How you doing, Kevin? So
Mm.
I own Ox Synergy, and we focus on building innovative B2B processes and business partnerships for companies in the life sciences and precision engineering sectors around the world. Our goal really is to help these companies navigate challenges, to grow strategically and achieve their goals. I've been working in the life sciences sector for coming 27 years, could you imagine it, Kevin? 27 years. And I'm very, very lucky that I collaborate with some of the most inspiring companies and individuals who are shaping the future of healthcare and advanced manufacturing all over the world. For me,
Fantastic.
it's incredibly fulfilling to contribute within these sectors that make such a meaningful difference in people's lives every day.
Fantastic. Okay. So when you say around the world, I mean, are there particular countries or that you're more present in than others, or is it working with multinationals or what is it?
Obviously, in Ireland, we're very, very lucky to have a really strong life sciences sector with some of the biggest companies from all over the world are based out of here.
Mhm.
But a lot of them have facilities in America, in Europe, and I would have experience of attending and all visiting all of those. Actually, I'm going to California in a couple of weeks' time for the biggest medtech conference in the US. So my job would have taken me all over the world.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. That's great. And you've been growing over the period. What do you attribute your growth to, Richard?
I personally believe that growth in any company, but in my own, it has to come from a foundation of really building solid relationships and providing real value to the partners that we and value to the people who we partner with. If for me, it's about showing up with a mindset of service, listening to the challenges our partners face, and being honest with them about how we can help, and then taking that information and putting systems in place and connecting them with the right resources or people. And that can be done even if it has no immediate gain for us. For me, networking has been pivotal, but it's not in a transactional sense, Kevin. It's
Okay.
more about building meaningful connections that goes both ways. In
Right.
my honest opinion, when you build genuine network and genuine care in the people you're trying to help, it comes back on you tenfold.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely relationships. And when you say you're providing systems and services, what is it for in the production process, operations, or all of the above? Or
It's all of the above. So what I would do is I'd help a lot of companies who be, a lot of companies would come from an SME side of, and they don't know how to grow. So what I help them is I put the processes and systems in place, Kevin, to allow them to flourish and to go after key specific targets, whether it's going into a new sector, a new market, whatever it might be.
all right, okay, okay, excellent. And if you had to start again from square one in business, what would you do differently?
And that's a good one. Do you know what? When I look back, I thought I needed to do absolutely everything on my own. That's been honest. But looking back, the moments when I really sought guidance and advice from others, those were the ones that made the biggest difference to me. I'd recommend to anybody looking to build a business to focus on building a strong network, not just within your industry, but across lots of different sectors. For me, I'll be honest with you, Kevin,
Hmm.
collaboration sparks real innovation and diverse perspectives really leads to better outcomes. I'd recommend anybody to get involved in their local network groups. There are so many groups, online resources, whatever it might be. But for me, I'll be honest, there's nothing better than in-person networking.
Mhm.
And really, you just never know who you might find who could become that mentor, who could really help your business to go to the next level.
Fantastic. Yeah, obviously I'm a big fan of that as a business coach. Um, and what have you been your biggest learnings as an employer since you began in business?
God, there's so many, but for me, I think I'll be honest. I think that the most important thing about when you're working with people is you have to build a culture of trust and we're open communication. I believe that. We all know, Kevin, that good people are extremely hard to find.
Yep.
So your
Yep.
team is extremely important. And when you put trust in them, to take ownership of their projects or whatever it might is they may be doing, uh, I believe that incredible things happen. One of the other things is from a delegation, how important delegation is to empower others. For me, one of the things that I had to learn was that there are people that are way better at certain tasks than I ever could be. And that's just down to good time management, and empowering those people to go and do it. And
Yeah.
there's several tasks that people are better at me at, but obviously as a business owner, you think you can do everything. But I would encourage anybody who's starting out to look at their strengths, and where they can bring in expertise to alleviate the weaknesses.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very common theme that we've had in this series. Hiring people that are better than you at, as you say, at specific tasks or expertise.
Oh
And
God, I would never, I would never see that as being I think some business owners probably would see it as risk bringing somebody in who's stronger than them in certain areas. I see that as a huge opportunity. That has only organizational benefit for everybody.
fantastic. Yeah, no, I agree completely. Yeah, absolutely. And you see, if you try and do it all yourself, there's only so big you can get.
Oh yeah,
Eventually, you do run out of time and possibly energy as well.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. So I suppose the other one then is how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business? The famous work-life balance.
Ooh. Um, Look, I suppose as any SME owner will tell you, Kevin, balance can be very difficult. But I'll be honest, I've learned that it's about prioritizing what matters most, and setting boundaries. Um, I'm married to Grania and have twin boys, Fiona and Oren. Um, and I've started treating personal time as non-negotiable, to be honest.
Right.
Whether that's spending time with the family or friends, or helping within our local community. Like I trained as local soccer team, or I help out with I'm chairman of our local community park. We're developing a big community park, and or even if it's taking time for myself, even if it's only an hour or two a day, to try and maybe get fit, or even to enjoy where I live. I live only 5 minutes from Innisgrown Beach here in Sligo. So it's just to go down there and go for a walk sometimes. So for me, Kevin, I time is very important, and I more than anybody appreciate that because I went through a major health issue a number of years ago with cancer,
Oh,
and
good.
thank God, all is well now. So I
Good.
really appreciate the value of time and the importance, to make the most of it. And what I would say to anybody on this who's listening to this podcast is I'd encourage them all to not lose sight of balance, and make time, because if we manage and our time properly, the time can be there.
And yeah, yeah, absolutely. Again, couldn't agree more with you. It's about, I think what happens with we start a small business, we get very busy, we keep encroaching on our personal time and all that, instead of saying, okay, this is the personal time as you've described here. Now I'll fit the rest in around that.
Yeah, look at life happens and business sometimes happens, and
Mhm.
sometimes like when you're traveling, like if I'm traveling to America or if I'm traveling to Europe, there's certain things that can go. But it's about with technology today, Kevin,
Mm.
more than ever before, you're able to spend time working from home where you can, and then it's just about putting the computer down, turning the phone off, and because sometimes the best, and I would see this with a lot of the people I work with, Kevin. Sometimes the best thing they ever do is to actually step back from their business rather than being on the treadmill in it all the time. Step back and you see it at a completely different light.
Yeah, I can remember reading it was a Bill Gates. He goes off to one of his islands and he takes 3 weeks where with no connection, nobody getting on, and he's just reading stuff and reflecting on he's reasonably successful.
Reasonably. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, and again, I suppose on the employees, what qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment? I think you've touched on that, but maybe just to expand a little bit on it.
Look, I think any organization finds it difficult to get people, good people. I think it's very, very difficult. And I think those people, when you find good people, you've really got to take care of them and mind them. Um, for me, I like people who are passionate about what they do, that there's a purpose in their job, from if you don't love your job, you shouldn't be there, in my opinion. I think it's so important. You need to enjoy your life, enjoy what you're doing, and it's adding value. I like people who are curious, and I like people who are willing to learn and not being afraid to learn. Being part of a team is extremely important because when you create a proper team and you pull people together who are willing to share ideas, listen to others, and work collaboratively, magic things can happen, in my opinion. But you talked about how do we foster that? Well, it's important to foster a positive environment. And I focus, again, I touched on it, communication and trust. I believe that those are the pillars of success. If you empower people, they will pay it back tenfold.
Fantastic.
And but not alone that, that they feel valued and that they know that what they do every day, that that's part of the bigger picture of what the organization is trying to do.
Absolutely, absolutely fantastic. And just to round off there, Richard, what are some of the common misconceptions about managing a business, and how do you address them?
Right. God, there's several misconceptions. We could be here for a month, Kevin, but I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that success comes easily and quickly. I think that there's just a magic wand, and that everybody who has a business is, I don't think that that's true. In reality, building a business takes persistence, adaptability, not being afraid to pivot, and putting a lot of hard work in behind the scenes. It's not just about having a great idea; it's about execution. Um, it's about building relationships and willing to learn from failure. And one of the biggest things I'll be honest, Kevin, what paralyzes a lot of businesses is they're afraid to fail. Um, I think you should never be afraid to try something. If it fails, you pick it up and you go down a different avenue. If it's maybe a service or an offering or whatever it might be, I think you should always try to be innovative and be on the cutting edge.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we learn more from our failures, I think, than we do from our successes. And I like the phrase, you either win or you learn. This.
Yeah. Another misconception that I think that an awful lot of people who start businesses is that they need to have all the answers. I passionately believe that, when the best outcomes that I've ever got is from collaboration. It's from mentors. It's about working with people and being part of an ecosystem. And that ecosystem doesn't have to be within your business. It can be within your network.
Yeah,
It can be within your clients even. And I think by being open and willing to learn, you create an environment where everybody grows. And that's not just you, but somebody else that's part of your network that you might be able to give them a nugget that might help them.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a kind of two-way flow. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
value. That's real value, and that's sustainable network growth, in my opinion.
Brilliant. Richard, it's been brilliant talking to you today. I really appreciate you taking the time out. We've got some great stuff there for our viewers. And thanks again.
Listen, thank you very much for the invitation, Kevin. I look forward to speaking to you soon.